Hey everyone, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. The FCC is considering requirements for broadband operators for various customer service initiatives. This is something that's going to be voted on probably here by the full commission shortly. I will be right back with more. Thanks for joining me. Rick Husey here with Broadband Deployment News. So I saw this today. This is pretty interesting. Chairwoman Rosenworcel calls on agency to inquire about industry customer service. So various levels of customer service, including technical support as well as installations, those kinds of things. So I was going to take a quick look at just a public notice at this point. But you see here, Chairwoman Rosenworcel calls on agency to inquire about customer service in communications industry. Notice of inquiry would seek comment on ways to help consumers' customer service experience with phone, cable, and broadband providers. So it's not just broadband, but that's what this broadcast is about. So if you're a broadband operator, you need to be kind of keeping an eye on this. I will certainly broadcast again when they come out with the full notice of proposed rulemaking, which will be coming out. But you see here, this was a couple of days ago, the FCC shared with her, Chairwoman Rosenworcel shared with her fellow commissioners a notice of inquiry that, if adopted, so this is a notice of inquiry at this point that will be coming out, that if adopted would seek information on ways to ensure that consumers have appropriate and efficient access to customer service resources when working with their phone, cable, and broadband providers. Consumers should have access to customer service resources that are helpful and efficient, so they can easily resolve issues and make informed choices when it comes to their telecommunications service providers. So interesting here in that this seems to be delving into areas that are related to the business practices of these companies. And as you do that, I think you're starting to get involved in the private sector. And these are things that differentiate companies. So I'm not sure they should be doing this. As much as being a consumer, like good customer service, I also know that good customer service, there's a cost involved in that, and the better the customer service, sometimes the higher the cost. And if you're willing to pay for that in the free market economy that we have, then those are the companies that will be successful. And then you'll have other consumers that can't afford that, and maybe they need a less expensive option where the service is still good. Let's say the connectivity is still good, but maybe they don't get the same level of customer service. So I'm thinking this is maybe going a little beyond what the FCC should be requiring. And it's the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, so telephone service, and they're also mentioning your cable service and broadband. They tend to have regulatory power over those things, so that's why they're inserting themselves here. Now, of course, you've got all kinds of businesses throughout the country that have various levels of customer service. So does this move into that territory with some other Federal Trade Commission or other agencies? And do they have the power to do that? Because again, you're not supposed to, let's say, go in and determine what price a company should be selling their service for. But if you go in, the more regulations you put on a company or in an industry, then the higher those costs are going to be. So you're trying to help the consumers on one end, but then you could also be raising their prices as you do that. So if you're going to require certain changes for certain companies, that they have to maintain these standards, then they may have to raise the price because they may have to hire more people. They may have to establish a complete new group if they're not doing live technical support, those kinds of things. Hopefully they are, but if they're not, then that's going to increase the price from their service. So that might be overstepping their bounds here. She says here, consumers deserve the ability to resolve problems quickly and easily in a way that works for them, not just what benefits the company's bottom line, said Chairwoman Rosenworcel. That's why we are seeking information on how to promote efficiency in customer service in the telecommunications industry. Through this effort, we want to explore solutions to take some of the pain out of routine customer service problems and pass along cost savings to consumers. But again, they may be passing along cost increases to consumers if they implement some things that are going to be a higher cost for the operator. The operator is not going to eat that. They're going to have to pass their costs on to the consumer. So they mentioned a few things here that I think are good, and these are things that should not increase the cost, and it would be good for consumers. So you see here, simple cancellation. It should be easy for folks to cancel. should be as easy for them to cancel as it is for them to sign up for something. That goes for broadband service, telephone service, cable service, or whatever, okay? And that is being looked into, I think, by the Biden administration, not just for broadband, and I'll mention that here in a moment. Access to live representatives. This is the one that struck me because you might have, you could have, this is the free market, so you could have an internet company that says, you know what, we're not going to provide access to live customer support, but we're going to give you a better price. So our price is going to be, let's say, $10 less than our competitors. If you feel like you need access to technical support, to find out, how do I use this application, or I forgot how to do this. Obviously if something's broken, you want to be able to get in contact with somebody quickly, but let's say you are willing to not have the opportunity to get in touch with somebody quickly, and you can fill out a form to get support within, let's say, 12 hours, 24 hours, something like that. That's going to be less expensive for the internet service provider, and maybe they can offer a better price. So you might have some operators that do that. For example, we hear a lot about open access networks where you've got one operator that builds the network and is running the network, and then you've got companies that market the service over that. Service providers, they're not really doing a lot of technical stuff, but they're billing the customer, they're marketing the service, and they provide, let's say, technical support. Well, you might have one on that open access network that provides 24/7 live access to a technical support group, and maybe the hold times they try to maintain are a minute or less. You might have another one that says, you know what, we've got live support, hold times 5 minutes or less. It's going to be less costly for them, so they can maybe offer a better price. You might have one that says, you know what, like I say, fill out a form and you can get access, or we've got live chat, you can get access, and they can charge different prices. And as the consumer, you can choose which one you want. You can say, well, you know what, this will save me $10. I'm going to go ahead and go with this company because I'm pretty good on technical stuff. I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll save money. So again, I don't know if we should be requiring companies to have live access or access to live representatives. Establishing uniform requirements regarding installations, outages, and service calls. I don't know what those, I guess we'll need more details there on what those uniform requirements are. Obviously in some of the funding that we've seen with BEAD, for example, you've got to be able to install somebody within, I think it was 10 days, 14 days, something like that, if it's considered a standard installation. So they might come up with maybe number of days, but then also maybe are they going to try to determine whether you can charge for that or not. Outages, does that mean, how you communicate those outages, or are they going to require, let's say they require companies to have a certain maximum number of hours outage per year. Well, again, that's going to increase a company's cost. So as a consumer, you should have the choice. If you get connected with a provider, and let's say there's competition there, and you're finding, these guys are down way too often, I'm going to go to another company. That's your choice, okay? And that is the free market at work. And then service calls, not sure what that is. That might be maybe how quickly a company responds, or do they actually show up when they say they're going to show up? What's the window that you're given? Do they say, we'll be there between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., or we'll be there between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m., or something like that? Those are the kinds of things that they might do. Automatic renewal of service or price increases. That kind of goes along with some of these other things that the administration is trying to do, where if you sign up for something, does it automatically renew and then you forget about it? Well, if it's your internet service, you're probably not going to forget about it, but there is this thing, the price increases, where cable operators, as standard practice in the past, some of them have dropped this, but you sign up with them at a really good promotional price, and then it automatically renews after a year, and then bam, it goes up $50 because you were on a promo price. So they're probably going to address that. That would be a good thing to say that that's not a good practice, because again, that's not something that's really impacting their cost. What it's doing is preventing them from taking advantage of consumers. So it's preventing them from getting, I guess, revenue that they really shouldn't be getting if they're taking advantage of consumers. Special considerations for people with disabilities and more. So that, that's the kind of thing that they do. For example, phone, you have to have the phone service for people that are hearing impaired, those kinds of things. They may do something like that. So that's all there is to this. I link to this. I also link to, I link to this where you can download it. So if you go here, you can download it in one of these formats, and this is what you will get. Also link to this. I'll go here first. So if you are an internet service provider and you're looking at this and you're going, wow, we don't have 24/7 support. What if they require that? we don't even have live support or we've got a long hold time, check out our end user support services because we provide end user technical support for hundreds of operators. I don't know how many throughout the years that we provided this service for, where you can get technical support. Your consumers can call in, they contact us. We handle those issues. And we don't just help them with their connection. We can do all kinds of things. So if they've got if you're providing a router for them with Wi-Fi, or whether you're not providing that router, even if they get it on their own, we help them with their home network, get that set up. We can help them with getting a virus off of their computer, help them with all kinds of things that go above and beyond what they normally would get through tech support. So reach out to us there if you need help with that. Regardless of this new thing that's coming along, if you need help with technical support for your subscribers, we can do that for you. If you're not providing 24/7 support today, but you would like to, we can handle after-hours support. So you can handle the calls during business hours, and then they can roll over to us when you guys are gone. So there's all kinds of plans. It's not cookie cutter at all. So check us out there. And I did want to show this too. So I think this came out the same day. So this is all probably related. So this is the fact sheet. Biden-Harris administration launches new effort to crack down on everyday headaches and hassles that waste Americans' time and money. New actions will take on corporate tricks and scams like excessive paperwork, long wait times, and more that pad the profits of big business at the expense of everyday Americans' time and money. Like I say, there are some things that are padding the profits that are a little bit, I think, again, this idea of your service cancels, and whatever it is, whether it's broadband or you've done some kind of subscription online to a streaming service, and it automatically renews and you forget about it, and then you're getting charged every month, even though you're not using it. Those are the kinds of things that companies make money on, and for them it's good, but it's not good for the consumer, and they should not be doing something that would be a little bit misleading like that. So those are good things. But when you start to impact the company's costs by regulation, and thereby, like I mentioned, increasing the consumer's price because you're regulating the provider, whatever their service is, then that's not a good thing. So you see here, today President Biden and Vice President Harris are launching the Time is Money, a new government-wide effort to crack down on all the ways that corporations, through excessive paperwork, hold times, and general aggravation and unnecessary headaches and hassles, add unnecessary headaches and hassles to people's days and degrade their quality of life. So time is money, that's what they're calling it. And then there's a whole, you can read through this fact sheet, but I think this is probably related, what we're seeing here on the customer service for communications providers, whether that be phone, cable, or broadband service. I'm sure it's all related. And it's interesting that it mentions hold times here because, again, if they do say you need to provide live support and the hold time has to be, you've got a hold time, let's say, of 2 minutes or less. You've got to maintain that. Well, there are companies that don't maintain that. And if they don't, then, and they have to, then they're going to have to increase the number of call center agents that they have in order to do that. Or maybe they say, you know what, it's not worth it. We're going to outsource this, and we're going to, in order to be able to get hold times like that, we've got to keep our costs down. We're going to outsource it overseas. So you go from having a good customer service experience, the person calls in, and most of the time the average hold times are good, but it's not whatever the standard is. But then now they're having to call overseas, and they're able to get somebody on the phone, but the person's hard to understand, both because the connection's bad and maybe there's an accent there to deal with. And the level of service isn't as good because they're not actually people at the company, but they're somebody off somewhere else, and they're doing support for broadband service as well as 27 other industries. Who knows? So you could maybe decrease the level of service as far as the quality of service that somebody's getting, even though they're getting somebody on the phone sooner. So again, these are the kinds of things that I don't think the government on something like this should be getting involved in, because these are things that people can make the decisions about on their own. What's important to me? Is customer service important to me? Well, then I'm going to go with this company. Is a lower price important to me? Then I'm going to go with this company. I'm going to deal with not being able to get somebody on the phone within 2 minutes. I realize when I do have to call, it might be 5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes. I'm going to sit there and hold and deal with it. So those are the kinds of decisions that the consumer should make, and not necessarily the government, because the government then is controlling. I think they have their hands too much in the business itself if they're doing that, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's just something to keep in mind. And I will certainly provide an update if they come out with a notice of inquiry and then maybe a notice of proposed rulemaking. Once they do that, then they'll have all kinds of things that they're planning on doing, and they'll be requesting comments on that. And I'm sure there would be lots of comments from internet service providers and phone companies and cable companies at that point. So again, I will keep you updated on that. Thanks for joining me today. If you found this interesting, new, and something to keep an eye on, go ahead and give me a like on the video. I'd appreciate that. Subscribe to our channel. Click the subscribe button. Ring the bell or make sure it's rung to be notified when I'm live. I appreciate you joining me today. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.